I mean, I'm not... Ian, I'm going to make it very clear when we start recording that I have little to no interest in the TV series Friends.
Hi, I'm Ian. He's Ollie.
Hi.
We're both guys. We're chatting about Friends and movies. It's the Guys on Film podcast.
I'm just going to read you this thing out. So, a fresh pastry sour base, conditioned on apple, vanilla, and cinnamon. Pie hard is everything good about apple pie and custard wrapped up into a beer. What do you think about that?
It's a review of a craft beer.
It's a description of a craft beer. What do you think about that? Would you drink pie hard?
I'd drink it to try it, but it's probably shit, isn't it?
Right, let's move on.
It's good that you just threw that in because you had nothing to say about Friends in the intro.
We'll get to that.
All right.
As to why I don't have anything to say about Friends.
Because you've got none.
Yeah.
It's an alien concept here.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out if I have no friends I assume, in 1 minute. Right?
Okay, so what's today's programme about, Ollie?
Well, there was a little bit of confusion, Ian. I mean, I'm not going to go back to the exact time that the confusion happened, but it was on a WhatsApp conversation when we were talking about new topics that we were going to talk about, and I suggested Friends in movies. And you went, yeah, that's a really good idea, great. As normally, my ideas are pretty good. And a couple of days passed, and then it turns out that rather than discuss it, you kind of ran away with the idea that I meant movies with the cast of the sitcom Friends in it. You know, your Chandler,
Matthew Perry,
Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, all those kind of things, where I just meant friends in movies, like buddies. So,
it's interesting that you place the blame firmly on me rather than you not being able to convey your idea clearly.
Well, I'd like to refer you to a previous...
Your big nebulous concept of friends in films.
If I'd have meant
the slightly
friends,
more focused.
If I'd have meant friends, would I not have put a dot between each letter of the word to indicate that that's what I meant, right?
You probably wouldn't. You don't pay that much attention to detail.
Anyway, so I've done a bit of research on buddies and friends in films, and you've done some research on, the less interesting version of the concept to me.
And what this means for listeners is a difficult hour and a half listen.
I mean, it's even more of a difficult 3-hour recording session.
All right. Well, I thought to kick this off before we go into Seggy 1, I would just check whether or not you or I are actually friends.
What? I was just going to say we're fusing podcast topics like Seth Brundle in The Fly would do. Ding, 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 ding. So I recognise
mention of The Fly number one.
The Fly number one. So anyway, the test to see whether or not we're friends in real life.
All right. So Ollie, I've got a quick fire round of questions. It's kind of like I think Americans refer it to as the newlywed game, but in our case, it's going to be platonic. So I've done you a quiz about me, and we can see whether you get the answers right or not. So let's kick it off. Where did we first meet?
We met at work.
That is correct.
Because that would have been the first. I mean, how do you think I would not get that one right?
It's a starter for 10.
Okay,
right?
starter for 10.
So, ding,
and I've got 10.
Andy's got 10. All right. What's Ian's favourite band?
Motorhead.
There you go. He's got it. I put down any of Motorhead or Thin Lizzy. Either of those would have done fine. But that's good.
Starter for 20 or he's continuation off. For 20.
He's off and running. In what area of London does Ian live?
Now that's a good question. I know you've lived in Hackney.
That's true.
I'm going to say I don't know.
Okay, it's Walthamstow.
Walthamstow, okay.
But that's all right. I'll give you half
because
point for
isn't that where
because
E17 live?
That's correct.
Right.
I don't know if they live here anymore per se, but yes.
Okay.
All right, next one. What's Ian's favourite food?
Your favourite? Now that's a really good question.
It's a really good question.
No, it's a really good question. I mean, there's a few answers. I'm just going to give you a few that I think it could be, because the things that I've seen you eat the most are Skittles, scrambled eggs on toast with chili flakes, and chickens with beer cans shoved up their asses. So I think of those three, I'd probably say scrambled eggs on toast with chili flakes.
The Skittles thing I don't remember, but I presume that's a vending machine thing.
Yeah, you always used to have Skittles.
Yeah, they're pretty.
I know you better than you.
Yeah, you do. I'm going to give you half a point for that anyway, just because of the good guesses. But actually, I'd written down curry and, in particular, Danzak. I thought maybe since we'd been out for curry, you might know that.
Do you remember that one time?
I'll cry about this.
Do you remember that one time we went for? We were at the London Podcast Festival, and we went for a very fast, hastily decided curry with a friend of the podcast and often contributor. We went for a very hastily decided curry, and we pretty much all had the shits.
And fell asleep during the podcast performance we were watching.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that.
It was a very quick turnaround for our stomachs.
All right, last question. When and where was our first kiss?
I don't know. I feel like you have kissed me before, because I feel I've definitely felt that beard. I kind of know what it feels like on my cheek. Okay. It's probably on a night out. I would say probably at the Assembly in Leamington. It would be a really good guess.
Probably Sofia, Bulgaria on Ollie's wildest night out. But maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to try and guess 3 of those questions, because some of them don't really relate back because we've already answered them, right? But I'm going to try and answer those for you, and you can tell me whether I got them right. So, your favourite band. First time I ever came to your house, you were playing this band and their famous song, Loch Ness. I would guess it's Judas Priest. I could be wrong, though.
Ian, I don't think I have a favourite band. But I would say if I had a collection of bands that I would say are my favourites, they would be up there. Okay,
all right.
But I think Iron Maiden are probably pound for pound my favourite band.
Pound for pound. That's funny though, because actually, if you were to think that through to its fullest extent, Iron Maiden have so many members that actually, pound for pound, they're a lot weaker a proposition overall. Like, the amount of musical goodness that comes from each member is much more diluted. Anyway.
But it's a good guess. I do very much like Judas Priest. Very much.
Next one then. Area of London, I asked you. Area of Cov, my guess is Earlston. Is that right?
That's correct, but I'd rather listeners didn't know my exact location.
You can bleep that out. Yeah. Just put a bleep over the top of me saying it. Favourite food? I'm going to say curry.
Correct.
Yes. All right, well then, I think the results are
They speak for themselves. So can we move forwards as friends?
Into the main show as acquaintances. No, friends. It's the Friends podcast. Let's get on with it.
Guys on film. Yeah, we're guys. We're talking about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real. You know what guys talk about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real.
Welcome to Seggy One. You've just heard the jingle, the rap jingle that we've had for quite a long time now. Would you say it's our best?
Can I just ask you?
Yeah.
Do you actually know what a friend is? Usually you'd ask me this.
Not at this particular point in the podcast.
You would have done it already. You forgot it.
I wouldn't have done it already. I would have done that in the deep dive, so that's where you're wrong.
Since the last time I've spoken to you, it feels like you've amped up your Ricky Gervais and David Brent impressions. Am I getting that wrong, or have you been
It's only
watching
because
a lot
you
of The
can
Office?
just see me, I think. You can just see me on the video.
I think you'll find that would normally be in the deep dive.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So we've got Seggy One, and I've tasked you to come up with 2 film pitches that revolve around the concept of friends. And I think we've already established what friends are. So, Ian...
I just asked you and you couldn't tell me.
Well, friends are people that can answer, 4 or 5 questions about each other's, food, bands, place they live, and get a fairly decent score.
Okay, all right.
And that they
definition.
would probably drive off the edge of a cliff with each other in a old Cadillac to evade the police rather than being jailed forever.
Now we're talking. Okay, yeah.
So Ian, I would like you to go first because I feel if I went first, the bar would be set so high that it would just be a real shame for you. So you can go first. What are you eating?
That was a little bit of banana.
Okay.
Is that the same banana that you were eating before we started?
Yeah, it's gone now. It's just the very last bit.
Okay. Why are you eating the peel as well? That's a bit strange.
Right, so my first one, I don't claim that these are good. They were written hastily, but let's just see what you think, and also any producers who are listening. Right, the working title for this is American Sweethearts?
With a question mark?
With a question mark.
Okay.
Tagline, everyone loves them, but they hate each other.
Okay.
So,
do you have an official synopsis?
The official synopsis is... No, actually, just a tiny bit of preamble. Everyone knows that Sandra Bullock and Jennifer Aniston have captured the hearts of America and its cinema goers and have had highly successful career paths that have never crossed.
Time and time again.
Until now. So the synopsis.
The official synopsis.
A movie studio schedules 2 movies to be made around the same time, and the starlets are forced to share the same studio backlog as their starring roles are on for a collision course. Things start with verbal jabs and practical jokes, but the rivalry turns bitter.
This doesn't sound very friendly.
Until they realise they have a shared enemy, and they take down the studio from the inside. What do you think about like a Sandra Bullock and Jennifer Aniston kind of stealth secret agent style movie where they have to go on a killing spree? They become buddies through
murder,
some sort of Tango and Cash style murder.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Justice.
Who is the common enemy? Is it just a studio head played by Ed Harris?
Yes.
Fantastic. And what is his... Why is he the enemy?
That was something that I was interested in your take on.
Well, I mean, look, if there is any producers listening, they're going to be putting you, under a harsher spotlight than I will be. So if you can't answer these questions as the creative behind this project, Ian, then, we're not going to be able to greenlight it, and they certainly won't greenlight it.
One of the things I read about pitch meetings, Ollie, was to allow the producers to project themselves onto the script so that they feel like they're part of the creative process. Because they're egotistical and they think they're the creative in the room. So
he's an ex-boyfriend.
There you go. Yes, that works for me. Will you greenlight it?
I will, yeah. That is a fantastic twist on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic twist on it, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Have you got an example scene at all? Or? I did ask for an example scene. So if you've not got one, I'll be very disappointed.
No.
Okay. Look, well, I'll greenlight it anyway because I'm very fond of the idea of the boyfriend being the ex-boyfriend of both of them being the head of the studio that they're both. And I guess he's trying to make them both star in flops.
There you go.
Wow, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I look forward to you stripping back every element that I added to this project and turning it into something completely different.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to mine. So my first one is called The Bubble. Okay. Yeah. Just so you know, you wouldn't be able to see this, but Ian and I are doing this over Zoom, and it's not the only video conference software out there, but we're holding up signs to say when to move on, and now that sign holding is being abused. So, just so you know.
Ollie decided to raise his sign after I'd concluded my segment.
Okay, look, can I just...
Ian, move on!
Can I just get on to my first one, please? So my first one is The Bubble. And And the tagline is, "This bubble about to burst with friendship." And the official synopsis is...
The official synopsis!
Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg are all rivals on a work trip that are forced into a support bubble during a global pandemic with hilarious consequences.
Okay.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I like the omission of the S the most already.
Which one? What S?
This bubble about to burst.
This bubble about to burst, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an example scene for you. So just to set the scene, they're all in a house. They're not allowed to leave. They are their own support bubble. They don't like each other. Their personalities are wildly different. And they can't believe that they've been put in this situation where they are the only three people that they can associate with. What a nightmare. It's sure to... lead to some hilarious conflict. So in this scene, we discover there is only 2x Rolo desserts left in the fridge between the three of them. So the guys create a tournament to see who gets to eat one. And after a hilarious and painful montage of self-made tournament games, John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg both get a pot of Rolo dessert. And it's a bit of dialogue for you. "Hey, Gary," says Mark Wahlberg. "Don't talk to me right now, Henry. I'm so angry and hurt and upset and hungry," shouts Will Ferrell. "Here, you can have my Rolo dessert," replies Mark Wahlberg. "Seriously?" yells Will Ferrell. "Yeah, sure. It's over there on the..." "Kevin!" We cut to a shot of John C. Reilly absolutely slathered in Rolo dessert. Somehow there seems to be way more than 2x Rolo dessert covering his face, hands and neck. He violently passes wind.
Can he do that cross-eyed thing he does as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
What do you think? Questions?
No, I think it's great. Consider it green light. Green light? Green lit.
Green lit.
Consider it green light. I do have some questions, just tweaks.
Okay.
Is the concept of a bubble something that exists in North America, or is that just a UK thing?
They're on a European work conference.
In the
UK? UK work conference. All travel corridors have been closed.
And then, so if they are here, is 3 a bubble size? Or, I don't know, I think there's some technicalities there.
Well, look, yeah, let's not get into the technicalities of it. It's, but anyway, look, I'm just pleased that it's been greenlit. So can we move on to your next one now?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I hope you're prepared. The working title is The Swimmer.
The Schwimmer.
Yeah, The Swimmer.
Okay.
It's starring David Schwimmer
as
the Schwimmer.
Okay.
It's also starring Larry David and Bridget Nielsen.
Okay.
The tagline is "David's in the drink." Doesn't make an awful lot of sense, but let's just go with it.
Yeah.
We can work on that. Synopsis.
The official synopsis.
David Schwimmer has been swimming against the tide since the season 10 finale of Friends, with guest appearances in Band of Brothers and Curb Your Enthusiasm being the high tide mark for his previously Olympian screen efforts. David finds himself in 2021 dipping his toe in the water of crappy commercials. His agent, played by Larry David, looks for a new career path for him. David is thrown in the deep end of a regional open water swimming competition after his swimming buddy is killed in a horrific road accident on the way to the meet. His coach, slated to be played by Larry David but changed at the last minute to be Rob Schneider due to budgetary and concerns about good taste, is at first sceptical about David's chances. As David commits to the endeavour in preparation for the big competition, we realise that the coach needs David as much as David needs him. To soothe the pain of losing the guy that died in the car accident.
Right.
So, bit of dialogue here. Schwimmer. Oh my God, it's absolutely freezing. Schneider. Raucous laughter. Where did you get those? Continued laughter. Schwimmer. It's not funny. Where's my dick? Schneider. They work better when you actually have a budgie to smuggle. Schwimmer. No, but seriously, do you think I'm ready for the big competition? Schneider, listen, it's no lie that you've been thrown in the deep end. Hey, it's not exactly going swimmingly for either of us. In fact, for the last month I've been felt like a man at sea since Teddy was killed. But you've gone from doggy paddle to swimming with sharks in only 2 months, and that is impressive. I guess we'll see if you sink or swim. Schwimmer, thanks coach. I think that means a lot.
Good dialogue.
Okay, thanks. Terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean, very complicated idea. And I would say that the high
I don't know
tide
how complicated it really is.
for Schwimmer was probably the trial of O.J. Simpson. He was very good in that. I thought he was good in that. He was good in that. But yeah, I think the whole Larry David being replaced by Rob Schneider.
That's not really synopsis. That's actually just development footnotes.
That will happen.
Yeah. We can't get Larry David. It's too lowbrow an idea.
Look, I think we could release it straight to VOD on HBO Max, something like that, or something equivalent to that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll greenlight it. I think it's got potential for, like you say, the dialogue really shines there. So let's greenlight it.
Did you notice that there were some nautical phrases laced into the dialogue?
I did notice that. Yeah, I did.
I thought that might go down quite well.
It went swimmingly. John, my next one?
Yes.
My last one. Okay, so this one is called The Friend. And the tagline is the tagline is bonded in friendship forever. I'm just trying to see when the penny drops here.
The official synopsis.
When loner scientist Seth Brundle, his friend, was given 6 months to live. So when loner scientist Seth Brundle's friend was given 6 months to live, he decided to fuse the two together in his transporter pod. Now Seth and Mackenzie, or Macseth, inhabit the same body with hilariously tragic consequences. Do you like that?
Hilariously tragic. Yeah, it's pretty good.
In one scene, Macseth has an arm wrestle with themselves, like that, and sprains a wrist. Obviously, in the original Fly, they have an arm wrestle, and the wrist bone goes through the arm in a very grisly, sort of graphic fashion. So they have these sprains. Yep.
So if he's arm wrestling himself,
yeah.
Just to be clear, when these two people have been bonded together through the machine,
yeah,
are they now one person with 4 limbs, or are they one person with kind of 2 heads and 6 limbs, or what kind of mess are they in?
TBC.
Okay.
Happy to take a producer's advice on whether it's more like Machamp or whether it's more just the man with two brains.
Okay,
scenario.
I'll draw a picture whilst you chat.
Okay, so in one scene, Macseth has an arm wrestle with themselves and sprains a wrist. Here follows the dialogue. Oh, great. I need that wrist, says Seth. Don't worry, mate. You can borrow mine. After all, what's mine is ours. They laugh and share 2x Rolo desserts.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I'd greenlight it.
Yeah. Okay, have you got any questions or any more questions, any improvements that could be made?
No, just something like that.
Ian has drawn something that looks like Mr. Tickle from the Mr. Men with 4 arms. Yeah.
Not like legs,
not a body.
Just a base.
Yeah.
Just a sort of a rubber
shape.
toy that you could kind of connect onto a table so it didn't move. But
the main thing is, to eat the 2 Rolo desserts, they could both be holding a pot and a spoon.
Yeah. Although each hand has a slightly different number of fingers, so that adds complexity.
Yeah. I mean, it does open a whole world of possibilities for new chords on the piano, though.
Yes. Yes and no. It actually might restrict you because some of them have got 1 finger.
Yeah, but you could play a note all the way up there.
Yeah, it's that classic thing of when there's 2 people at a piano and they're doing that mad thing of
it's just a noise.
Yeah. All
So
right,
anyway,
well, that was
look,
great.
So that's 4 pitches, 4 green lights. Very successful outing, I think, for us.
I think so.
Live score. How are you? Live score.
I'm fine, thank you.
Live score. Out of 10. Live score.
Probably like a 4. Ian, life scores. How is your life right now? This very moment in time.
It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, we are in lockdown 3.
Yeah.
We are in lockdown 3, though. But I can't really complain. Like I'm fine, considering. Like I do see quite a lot of people kind of complaining about the fact that they can't do things. And hey, I'm not going to lie. I'd like to go on holiday or something. I'd like to go see somewhere else. But
Coventry,
in the
for
scheme
example.
of things, I've seen that. I've seen enough of that.
Oh, yeah.
No, just, like, it's weird not to have been out the country for as long as I haven't. Because it actually, like, it's not 9 months back to March. It's probably more like a year and a bit now. Since my last holiday. Anyway, it doesn't really matter about that. What I'm saying is there are still people who are doing a lot of, like, work that puts them in danger and all that sort of stuff. So I think...
So you can't complain, you won't complain. There is
Quite
no
happy
complaints.
quite happy with how things are at the moment, to be honest. This year, it's January when we're recording this. It's time for people to kind of think about, what they want to achieve in the year. So I wrote all my goals down, but there's a couple of things that I'm trying to do slightly more of. Rather than, like, do something, it's just, like, improve a habit. So I'm trying to run more.
Okay.
You like that, don't you?
I love running. Are you on Strava?
I'm not. I'm on Nike Run Club. So it's all I'm doing is 2.5 miles twice a week. So I'm aiming for 20 miles a month to start with. And to be honest, like, I'll up that a little bit, but I'm not really wanting to put loads and loads more time into it. Like, I think about half an hour out running each time I do it, and then shower and all that. Like, when you do all that, it takes a while. So not going to increase it massively. I just maybe want to get better at it, so faster or slightly further. But I'm
Faster, better, stronger, more streamlined.
I'm doing it slowly as well, though. So, like,
Nice
just
pace.
slow and steady.
Yeah. Do you run with the dog?
No, I
That
don't,
would be funny.
We actually watched something on Country File the other day of ex-Blue Peter presenter Matt somebody taking out a dog for dog running.
Oh, that.
It was mad. I don't know if anyone can tell what that was, but Ollie gestured with a
sniper,
gun pose
like a
or
sort of
something.
sniper gesture, taking out a dog. What have
I'm
you
trying
watched
to read
recently?
more as well.
You're trying to read more. You read quite a lot anyway. He reads a book a week.
No, I don't. That's a lie. That's a lie. Okay. Ollie, I think you've maybe combined the fact I have loads of books with an idea that I read them, and that's the problem. I haven't been.
Okay.
So I've got loads of books, but I haven't really been reading them. But this year, I've already finished a book called Roadside Picnic, which, if anyone knows the movie of that, is Stalker, which is by a director called Andrei Tarkovsky. So I'm halfway through the film because it's 3 hours long.
Okay.
And I've been watching it in chunks. But it was a really... So, as with quite a lot of the sci-fi books that I've read, I get through them really, really quickly. It was like it was a real page turner. Wow. So I'm trying to do more of just reading generally. So that's my goals. Feeling good about them so far. Doing well against them. What else?
It's great because like you started reading like things like just the back of packets of soup, and then you went to like small articles and pamphlets. So it's very impressive.
Leaflets and pamphlets, yeah, especially ones with lots of pictures. Menus for takeaways.
Menus, yeah.
I rewatched Dread, which I enjoyed a second time round. It was good.
D.
That's correct.
It's like a kind of remake of the Raid, isn't it?
Kinda. People say that. Like the concept's kind of similar,
very similar.
But I don't know if the films end up being that similar, really.
No, but both
I like the mood and the tone of Dread. It's cool.
Both good
it's like
films.
Dark and sinister. And I've watched a few other things, but not an awful lot to report on them, really. I'm now 4 series into Amazon's Vikings.
Every time
Why do you do that?
Because every time that you speak to me, like, have you seen Vikings, mate? Because I'm getting well into Vikings at the moment. Can I shock you? I like Vikings.
Can I shock you? It's the first time I've said this on the podcast.
I don't think it is, though. It might not be.
No, it is. So
you've
definitely the first time I
getting
mentioned it
well
on the podcast.
into Amon Amarth, the heavy metal band, to sing about Vikings, and you've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I've not been listening to the metal band, but yes, I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PlayStation 5.
And how are you finding that?
It's definitely like an executive has gone, I'd like
More.
a game of that TV show.
Have they also gone, I want a lot of that game of that TV show? Make it last forever.
I don't know. I've only just started it, so
Okay,
no
fine.
idea. But there's a lot of things that even if they exist in like lots of the Viking mythology, the execution is extremely similar to the TV show.
Okay.
So heavily inspired by, I'd say. But all good. How about you?
I'm all
How's
right.
your
Look,
life?
Ian, the same as you, really. I think when lockdown 3 hit, initially I was like, I just started a bit of rock climbing, which I was getting quite into, and not being able to do that was initially a little bit like, oh God, you know, for crying out loud. But when you put it into perspective, you know, it's a couple of months of not being able to do a pastime when, you know, we really just need to sort of kick this thing into the gutter, and sweep it up and put it in the trash.
That's a great analogy.
Forever.
I don't know what you're drawing the comparison to. What would you normally kick in the gutter or drag away and brush in the bin?
Fag butts.
Brilliant.
You know, another menace. Basically, I've been all right. I've been, playing a few games, been watching a few films. I treated Mandy to watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy that you've said that your household isn't a fantasy household. In fact, it's very fantasy averse. You said. Those are your words. Fantasy averse.
Yeah, there was one evening where we were on the brink of putting it on. I think I was on a roll. We'd watched A Bronx Tale. I think we'd watched some other De Niro thing. And it felt like I was riding a high of any recommendation I made movie-wise. Ray was going to go, you know what? It's probably going to be great. So it felt like we were going to watch Lord of the Rings. And then
you got cold feet and then went.
We had dinner. The mood changed. And it was like, nah, I don't want to watch that shite. That's not what Rita said. But as many
in
words.
her words. But anyway, we watched it, and I serialized it for us. So we watched 90 minutes a night. I loved it. I love it. And by the end of it, all the emotions. She was using a lot of tissues to mop up tears and things. So I know she was
tears
invested
and things.
Tears and things. What else? We watched True Romance. That was another film that Mandy had not seen. She enjoyed that one. More of this, he says. True Romance, very good film. Very good friends in that film as well, I think. Or are they bad friends, actually?
Tony Soprano's in it, right? He's a bad friend.
He's horrible in it. They're not. I don't think they're great friends in it. Brad Pitt kind of continually dobs them all in. It's like, okay, where's your mate gone? They went to this exact hotel, basically, so he's not a very good friend. I tend to find friends that are involved in massive coke deals probably not going to be the most reliable friends in the world, I'll just say. That's it. I've cut out all sugar, Ian.
Wow.
For January, I like to hit the big reset normally in January, so I'll do like Veganuary or something like that. But
is that because you made an absolute mess of yourself in December?
Yeah, pretty much.
An absolute spectacle.
Well, I think there was a couple of days where I just thought, like, in my head, like in a kind of reverb shower head voice, thinking, all I've had over the last 2 days is sugar, sweets, bread, beans, sauces. When will this end? I must do something. Yeah. And then if you have because I have a sugar in my tea, if I have 4 or 5 teas in a day, That's 5 teaspoons of sugar, Ian.
Jeez. And that's maths.
And that's maths. So, yeah, I decided that I was going to kick sugar for January, and I thought it was going to be very difficult. But I'm enjoying it. I'm a savoury guy now.
He's just getting curries delivered to his house all the time.
Left, right, and centre. So, yeah, that's me. Look, I'd say I'm probably about an 8, because I'm happy that I've kicked the sugar.
I think I'm actually, not just to outdo you here, but I think I'm like an 8.5 or a 9 at least, because like I do feel pretty good at the mo. And I just remembered when you talked about cutting down on stuff, I'm doing dry January as well. Not a beer in sight yet.
Not even not a pie hard in sight.
Not a pie hard. Last thing before we move on to the deep dive, I got a new set of glasses. Can you describe them to the listeners?
Like imagine somebody that drinks craft beer.
Okay.
It's them.
Okay, there you go.
No, they're all right, yeah.
Well, thanks, mate.
Facts, data, I must have put a lot of effort into this one.
Information overload.
I think I'll probably double check that.
Ian, what is a friend?
Well, you told me in Seggy 1 that we already established what that was, but I'll give you an answer.
What's your opinion on that?
A friend is a person with one. A friend is a person with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically one exclusive of sexual or family relations.
That ticks all of our boxes.
Ticks all of our box.
So, that's a good assessment of what a friend is. So, look, you've got a few things on the TV series Friends and all of the, cast that were involved in that, and I've got some stuff on, people who are characters that are friends in movies. So which road should we take first? Have you got something ready to go?
I've got something ready to go. Just to clarify here, you've already started this off by marginalising the Friends TV show route by saying Ian has some stuff on it, he must have like a little bit of something.
Look,
whereas
the more that we
real focus will be my stuff.
Look, the more that we go down this, back and forth, the less time that we've got for the deep dive. So I suggest that we just crack on.
It's unfortunate that you have final editing say. All right, so first thing I've got for you is Bing Bing Bing, the Chandler Bing fight simulator. Bing Bing Bing, round 1.
Go.
So I want you to tell me who you think would fare better in a pugilistic competition between TV's Matthew Perry and a list of different people that I'm going to give you. How does that sound? Clear?
That sounds...
So I'm going to give you some vital statistics for Matthew Perry first.
Okay.
So just so you get some context, right? So his height, he's just over 6 foot. So he's a tiny bit taller than me.
Okay.
All right. He weighs about 13 or 14 stone, so about the same weight as me. And his
What
age...
is it, 13 or 14 stone?
For me, I'm about 14 stone, but for him, how are you going to find out a celebrity's weight? I don't know.
No.
It's about 13 or 14 stone, all right?
Okay.
Based on what I read. And his age is 51.
Do you think in the UFC, if Conor McGregor at the weekend turns up and he's like a stone over, they'll let him fight? I mean, I needed something a bit more accurate. But anyway, you haven't got that
Let's
detail,
be clear.
so let's just
This
move
is
on.
not officially sanctioned.
What is
not
Matthew
a fight
Perry's
promoter.
reach advantage?
I don't know. You're going to have to pull up a picture of him right now, like Matthew Perry 2021, and just have a look at the neck of him and base it on that. And just to be clear, he has been clean of drugs for quite some time.
Jesus.
What's this noise about? Your reaction to his image?
Friends star Matthew Perry emerges from nude eating in quarantine. I don't know what it means. I'm scared to click the link, but I'm going to. Carry on.
Right, okay, let's go. Who would fare better? Him or co-star Gunther, the coffee man from Central Park? Do you know who this is?
No.
Oh, Ollie. He's pretending he's never seen Friends before. No, we'll move on. Next, Bruce Willis. Would Matthew Perry fare well against Bruce Willis? Who would prevail?
Well, Bruce Willis, because he's been in more. He would have had more training in the action arts.
And so you subscribe to the idea that it's because he's an action star.
Yeah.
He's hard.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, so how would it go down? What would he do to take him out?
I think he would do the thing that Jason Statham does in the Transporter 1, and he would kind of grease him, like Bruce Willis would grease himself up with kind of engine oil, so that he was very like a slippery customer.
Okay.
And then he'd, I guess, he'd do the thing where he put the bike. What do they call them? Not calipers. The little bike pedal things that they put on. And he would just be very slippery. You wouldn't be able to grab him. Every time you did grab him, his head would just slip out your arm. It'd just be impossible to get hold of.
Okay.
That's
fair.
The only way that Matthew Perry could succeed in that bout is if he covered himself in flour.
Let's leave that to the eggheads. All right. Next opponent. It doesn't mean that he has to go directly from the previous fight into this one. He's not on some sort of big gauntlet. Arnold Schwarzenegger now.
Oh, mate, have you seen Arnold Schwarzenegger recently? He's ripped again.
Ripped again?
Yeah, he's like quite... he's been on it. He's been back on it. Back in action. So, yeah. And Arnie would just arrive in a tank or something as well, like a electric tank. Mano a mano. Do you just mean mano a mano?
Yeah. And stripped naked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna say that Arnie can like kind of look back over his career and maybe look at a film like Predator, and suggest that they fight in a forest area. And kind of just set up elaborate traps.
Okay.
For Matthew
Is that
Perry.
really mano a mano? That's immediately you're jumping to like other ways of killing.
Well, they both look. All I'm going to say is
combat.
All I'm going to say is that they both have the same forest to utilise.
Okay. Rowan Atkinson.
Not answering it, that one.
Why?
You answer it.
It's a quiz for you.
Okay, it's a quiz for me. Rowan Atkinson. All right, I'll let Matthew Perry have this one.
Okay, all right. There you go. How hard was that?
And I think, yeah. I guess I can just see Matthew Perry, maybe running full steam ahead and just sort of doing American football style shoulder tackle into the stomach of Rowan Atkinson. Doubling him up.
There was an episode of Friends where he had to actually play American football. So
there you go. So he's going to
training.
utilise that knowledge.
Last three. CM Punk, failed MMA fighter. Ding, ding, ding. Bing, bing, bing. Round 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would want Matthew Perry to win.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay. Because of the wrongly placed arrogance of CM Punk.
Wrongly placed arrogance, and also I do believe that I'll have to go and check this, but I do believe that CM Punk was outraged that Donald Trump was censored on Twitter, which I don't think was
really?
I'm not sure was very punk of him.
Okay.
So yeah, I would prefer.
So now it's
a
a battle of the politics as well.
Yeah, it's a political battle.
All right, last two. These are the final bosses. So he's now going to have to go up against his friends' co-stars. Not at the same time. First, who would prevail, him or David Schwimmer?
David Schwimmer.
And you said that very confidently. What do you base that on?
Height.
Next. His best friend from the TV series, Matt LeBlanc.
It's a draw. It's a dead draw. It's like a fight that if you allowed it to go on, they wouldn't be able to finish each other off because they'd be too tired.
Finish yourself off. I'm too
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
No, it'd be a dead draw, so they would both die at exactly the same time.
Yeah. They would both punch at the same time, and it would just be the exact same force, and knock each other out.
Right.
Or they
Like
would
the freeze
just
frame at the end of Rocky 3.
Yeah, they just wouldn't be able to one up the other one. They wouldn't be able to get an edge because they're so similar. They know each other's moves. They've studied each other.
I think I'd give that one to Matt LeBlanc, just based on physique. But that's a fair shout from me.
But it's
All
also
right.
it's a mental game as well, so not just
Okay,
physical.
Ollie. Let's move on to something related to the more generic topic of friends in film. Take it away.
Okay, Ian, and I want you to interject whenever, maybe, I tell you what,
No?
I'll do a couple and then we'll move on to another thing from you. So these are my top 5 friends. Ian's holding up the sign to tell me to wrap this up. Top 5 friends in movies. Okay, and I'll just see if you agree with my list. So we can do a couple and then we can move on to another thing, just to keep it pacey. Dumb and Dumber, Harry and Lloyd. Would you say that they're good friends? It's a good friendship to see play out.
Now, is this to do with the quality of their relationship, whether they're good for each other, or whether it's just a good friends film to watch?
Let's say both.
Okay, I think I enjoy the film, so it's a good film. Friendship, love it.
Yeah.
Whether they're good friends for each other or not,
They're there for each other?
my
Are
lasting
they there for
memory
each
of
other?
that is them having like mad arguments on the highway and like falling out with each other and getting exasperated. I mean, I think everything works out okay in the end.
Yeah.
But I think
It's
they
not
steal each other's
unrealistic for a friend to have an
girlfriends.
argument.
They steal each other's girlfriends, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, true.
Pretty bad stuff.
Here, but in real life, let me tell you how good friends they were in real life. According to the Farrelly brothers, Jeff Daniels wasn't wanted for the film, but Jim Carrey wanted him in it. In order to ensure a no from him, they offered Jeff Daniels $50,000 for the role, which is lowballing him, basically saying like, here, take this.
Do it if you want, but this is all
He
you're getting.
accepted it without any hesitation, nor did he attempt to negotiate, despite insistence from his agent that the film would, quote, kill his career. By 1994, the film was Jeff Daniels' most successful film of all time, and
But
you
he
can
made
credit
no money
Jim
for
Carrey for a bit of that.
And so, did he ever sort of recoup in any way the money he lost when he agreed to the 50,000?
What when Jim Carrey was paid $7 million for it?
Jesus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've got here that initially Jim Carrey was offered 700,000, but then Ace Ventura opened at number 1, and then he went, actually, 7 million now. Ian's
Times
Johnson.
times it by 10.
Times that by 10, please. Thank you very much. One more fact: in Mexican, Dumb and Dumber is just simply known as A Couple of Idiots.
Brilliant.
Moving on to another one, and then you can go on to one of your segments, okay? Just before we wrap up, Stand By Me, the film.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Stand By Me crew as a bunch of mates?
So you're testing my memory here because I don't remember every
Very
one of them.
much
But you got Corey Feldman, and then
River Phoenix.
River Phoenix, right? He's the one with the sort of buzz all over
Yeah.
short hair, right?
Yeah, Corey Feldman and a couple of others.
And a couple of others. I think they're a good crew and they kind of look after each other, don't they?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're good friends.
I
I
think
love
they're
that film, but it's a long time since I've seen it. So I can't. You can tell by my inability to even name who the 4 boys are. But
But what you're saying
It's
is good friends. I've just got a couple of facts for you here. This one I like. It's nothing to do with Friends, but after director Rob Reiner screened the movie for Stephen King, he noticed that King was visibly shaking and wasn't speaking. He left the room, and upon his return, he told Reiner that the movie was the best adaptation of his work he'd ever seen.
visibly shaking.
Visibly shaking because of his seeing his work.
Do you think anyone's ever been visibly shaking after listening to an episode of this?
Just, I think so.
Right.
I mean, I am now. To keep in camera while off camera, Kiefer Sutherland often picked on Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell just to keep in that kind of bully vibe. What do you think of that? What do you think of actors that do things like that on the set? Like they're mean to their co-stars because in the script it calls for them to be mean. Do you think that is a good thing, or do you think it's just shitty?
I think it's pretty shitty, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Shia LaBeouf thing, isn't it? Do you not just piss everyone off on that film Fury by taking it all a bit too seriously?
And stinking.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Iain, that's 2 of my 5. I think we'll leave it on a cliffhanger and move on to your next segment.
All right. So
there is a lot of swearing, I would say, in Stand By Me.
For a film predominantly based around the relationship of some kids.
Yeah. And they were about 11 years old at the time, and they were swearing on the screen.
Grown up
that
fast.
must have been a field day, wouldn't it? Being allowed to swear.
Yeah, but much like Jeff Daniels, they managed to sign these kids up for pittance.
Yeah.
So
Could still swear though, so. Right, carry on to your thing.
My
Whatever
thing.
that is.
Well,
I mean,
had
that
a watch
wasn't
of
meant
some
to be
Friends
disparaging.
movies.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Your thing is equal to mine.
It's not so much what you say; it's how you say it. All right.
Okay.
Right, we'll move on. So I had a look at some films that Friends stars went on to do after the TV series. Some of them have had a better time than others. I think it's fair to say Jennifer Aniston has had the most success.
Mm-hmm.
Some have had very limited movie or further TV show stuff afterwards. I think Matt LeBlanc is probably the one who's had the least. So he had that movie in...
He's had Top Gear.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, movies though, right? And he's
Okay, sure.
he's a replacement for some people that changed channel. In
Yeah,
fact, has he not even been ditched from that now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't follow it, but I'm pretty sure he's now been replaced by someone else. So Matt LeBlanc made Lost in Space. Did you ever see that?
No, but I know that was kind of peak Matt LeBlanc. Oh no, who was it? Matt LeBlanc fame.
Yeah.
So that was really riding off his, like, let's see if he can translate to film.
I think the answer must have been no, because nothing else has come since then. So anyway, I had a look around. I was trying to find things that, were the sort of top things that
Maybe
those
he
people
didn't
were
want
in.
to.
Maybe he
You ever
didn't
thought
want to.
about
Yeah, well, no, I didn't. I didn't think about that. Good catch.
Yeah.
What I did watch, though, were Romy and Michelle's high school reunion featuring Lisa Kudrow
Yeah.
and The Switch starring Jennifer Aniston. So I'm going to talk about The Switch first, because
And that's the Nintendo film, right?
No. The official synopsis.
The official synopsis.
7 years after the fact, a man comes to the realization that he was the sperm donor for his best friend's boy.
Right.
On the basis of that, what do you think about the premise for this film?
So just read it me again one more time, just so I can fully take it in.
Does that mean you weren't listening?
Yes.
You weren't listening the first time.
Ian, can I just ask you a quick question, completely unrelated? If you're in a online meeting at work and you don't catch what somebody said, and they say, "What do you think, Ian?" How do you get out of that one? Let me just do it now. Sorry. So, what do you think, Ian? And let's say you haven't been listening, you've been doing something else, and you're caught red-handed. What do you do? What do you think to that, Ian? Oh, so what Ian's doing here is he's miming that it's on mute. Or are you miming? Oh, but Ian, that doesn't work. That wouldn't work because, you're obviously. Oh, looks like my mic is dead. But how does that affect your speakers? Just type in your opinion, Ian. Ian, you clearly heard what we said.
Here.
You can type it in.
I'm restarting Zoom. I have to fix this audio issue. So that's my take. Is I'd pretend that I heard them and had an answer, but there was a technical malfunction, and I was going to have to restart Zoom to make that work.
Okay.
And then I come back in and say, you know what? Any chance you could just repeat what that was when you fired it over to me?
That's an amazing bit of pantomime that would just last at least 5 minutes.
Got to go with the huge disruption just to save face.
Okay, Ian, just quickly recap what the Switch is about for me, please.
So, official synopsis.
My mic wasn't working.
The official synopsis.
Jason Bateman and Jennifer Aniston star.
Yeah.
7 years after the fact, a man comes to the realization that he was the sperm donor for his best friend's boy.
It's just not likely. It's not a likely scenario because you don't... In my limited knowledge of sperm donors, you can't have a sperm donor within a certain radius of where you donate it to.
It is very unlikely, and the way that they deal with it in the film is very, silly as well.
Like 2 sperm trolleys get mixed up.
So what actually happens is...
I assume they have sperm trolleys. I don't know.
Shit, here comes the sperm trolley.
One of them tips over. Oh, God.
So the actor Patrick Wilson plays a guy called Roland, and he's the selected sperm donor based on the fact that he's got great genes, he looks great, he looks like, the ideal partner for Jennifer Aniston's character. Mm-hmm. He does his business, they put
and
it
he
in
only
a pot.
lives around the corner.
Hey, he just lives around the corner. He'll do it.
Yeah.
That's a line from it.
Yeah.
And so he does his business. So it's a home affair. It's not done in a clinic. It's done at a sperm donor party of some kind. So it's like this home type thing. That's sort of like Earth Mother sort of scenario. They leave the sperm in the bathroom, and then blind drunk, we see Jason Bateman's character come into the bathroom and then
Down it.
accidentally knock it down the sink, and then he just has to replace it.
Oh, God.
But here's the thing. It's like, it's got one of those covers where it's like, Jason Bateman, Jennifer Aniston, they're like kind of glossy looking Hollywood people. It's like, it's one of those films, The Switch. But it belies this like really dark plot where someone's life is totally ruined or becomes a lie. Yeah. And it's just so dark. Like, I don't know why it was ever made. Like some of our
a light comedy, but nobody ever thought to say, hold on, this is a little bit wrong. And no spoilers here, and I haven't actually seen it, but there's been quite a few complaints on a similar level recently about the latest Wonder Woman film. Have you heard about this?
I haven't, and I am actually quite excited to watch it.
So I won't spoil it, but there is quite a controversial through line in it that has, sort of got people raging a little bit, and for good reason as well. But let me know what you think.
Just the last point on the Switch is that Jeff Goldblum's in it, and he's great, but the rest of it's shit.
What was the other one you watched, Ian?
Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. Great 90s film. I would highly recommend it. It's quite a lot of fun. I think it's got sort of cult status along with the likes of Clueless. It's sort of like a what do you call them? They were also popular in the 90s. Time capsule. That's what it's like. It's like a time capsule of a particular moment in 90s culture. So here's the official synopsis.
The official synopsis.
2 dim-witted, inseparable friends hit the road for their 10-year high school reunion and concoct an elaborate lie about their lives in order to impress their classmates. So it's got the classic thing of they have like some shitty old classmates that treated them badly and they want to prove them wrong. The concept, I guess, is they're trying to concoct this lie about them. The best thing that they could think would be how they would become rich and famous was to develop the Post-it note and design the Post-it note. Hey, we use them every day. Everyone knows what a Post-it note is.
Yeah.
But in classic Hollywood terms, this is proof that they're real friends, because when that lie gets exposed, they realize that what they have is still more important than what the baddies have.
Which is what?
Well, the baddies are just like all about surface veneer, but they're real friends.
Yeah.
So it's not just got a friend in it; it's also got a good friendship in it.
What
And
would
maybe,
you-
Ollie, the word friendship is the one that you should have used. Friendships in films, not friends in films.
Not friends, yeah. What would you say out of all of the films that have starred the cast of Friends, not including like Bruce Willis and people like that, your big five? Is it 5 friends in it?
6.
6 friends, the big 6. Who do you think has had the best film, and what is it? I'm saying Courtney Cox with Scream.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way I would go as well, actually.
Okay.
Scream's my top. Who else we got? No, I think the other things are all series, right? So, like you said, Ross has been in the O.J. Simpson thing.
About Marley and Me. That's quite a big one, isn't it?
It's a big one, but I've never seen it.
It's that, you know what, I think, and it's another one of those ones where you look at the cover and someone's like leaning up on each other, like going, oh, this is going to be a fun romp. But
Don't judge
I
a book
think
by its cover.
No, don't judge a book by its cover. I think it's quite a lot darker than you expect it to be. I think it's actually a really good film. This gets my recommendation.
Okay.
I know, honestly, I do think it definitely sort of goes to a few places that belies the front cover and what you think it's going to be about. It's not Beethoven, it's not Turner and Hooch. It's
I'm going to need to watch that in my own time because Rhea said it's too emotional for her.
It is very emotional. I've knowing you, and you're a crier, and I know, and look, there is nothing wrong with crying. I'm not saying, but you've got. I think you maybe
Cry
would
too
say
much.
that you have a hair trigger, right, when it comes to movies.
Sure.
Yeah, I think this one will get you in floods.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll keep that in mind. One thing I forgot to say about The Switch, the dark spunk swapping film, is that there's a moment in it where I believe the director or the cinematographer must have said, "Tell you what, for this shot, let's get a spunk eye view."
Did they?
No, they didn't say that. You're just not listening again. But did they? I was like, they must have done, because there's a shot that's from the vantage point of a sinkhole as liquid is dropped down it, and it's
Right.
disgusting.
And you were watching it in VR 3D as well, which made it even worse. Okay, I'm just going to quickly move on to another 2 of my best friends. Now, I watched this one with my daughter and Mandy not so long ago, and it's the Goonies. And I don't think, people are going to unsubscribe from this. I think it's aged a little bit.
Okay.
I think as a film, it's aged a little bit, not in a good way. Not as bad as Ferris Bueller. I think Ferris Bueller's a little turd. But I think it's aged a little bit. For some reason, I wasn't loving it as much as I used to. But
is that because you're expecting it all to look like Stranger Things?
maybe a little bit, and I think maybe. And a little bit with Stand By Me is I think some of the, and you have to kind of forgive it for the time period, but I think sometimes the language is a little bit more brutal than we're used to these days, coming from kids.
Okay.
But I still think it's a really good film. But for some reason, I just felt it had aged a little bit. But I don't know why that is important to say. But what I would say is that generally, I think that this is one of the better examples of a kind of ensemble cast of mates. Some like each other, some don't like each other, but ultimately they all go through, a bit of a adventure together, and they've all got really nice, distinct characters as well. They've all got their own personalities, and I think one thing you could say about the Goonies is, as a squad, they're an individual group of people that are very well realised as mates, and I like that a lot about it. I just
They were mad for that in the 90s, weren't they? Like the ensemble kid gang squad goals. There was Hook.
Yeah.
There was a whole cast of like Lost Boys in that. There was Lost Boys.
There was good friends in that, the Frog Brothers.
What was the one that had all those actors that became massively famous later as like 17-year-olds,
Monster
like Tom
Squad.
Cruise and Kevin Bacon and the guy from Dirty Dancing. Hey, we're not going to work it out now, or I'll work it out in the background. But it's another one where it's like a mad crew of lads.
I just want to read you, because I've got a fact for all of these. I'll read you my Goonies fact. So you know how there's a couple of famous scenes in films where they don't tell the cast and crew what's going on to film the reaction, a bit like, Alien.
Yeah.
To get a genuine reaction. So the cast was not allowed to see the pirate ship before the scene was shot. So they go into this cave and there's a big kind of underwater lake, and there's a big huge pirate ship in there. The director Richard Donner wanted to catch their genuine reactions at the size and scope of it. But when they did see it, Josh Brolin was so surprised that he exclaimed, "Holy shit!" and the scene had to be reshot. That ruined.
Brilliant.
I bet Richard Donner went, "Well, that's ruined. Well done, potty mouth." But I'm fairly certain in that film they're effing and jeffing all the way through it.
In the Goonies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a couple.
I reckon there's the S-bomb in there every now and again.
S-bomb. Shit is such a like low-level swear word that S-bomb doesn't even make sense.
Okay, my next one is...
that movie I was trying to find the name of was The Outsiders.
The Outsiders. One more, so is Thelma and Louise. Like I said earlier, they decided to die together rather than face a life in jail, and I'd say that's good mates, wouldn't you? But they went on a hell of a journey together, and
I was just trying to work out if I'd die with you rather than go to jail.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that it's quite a dark film, obviously. There is a murder involved at some point, but it is, it's a friend looking out for another friend.
That's the follow-on from some sexual assault.
That is right, yeah. So, I think they're good friends, and I like the chemistry between the two. And I've got a couple of facts for you. According to the DVD commentary, Susan Sarandon explained that when Louise gets out of the car to throw up, egg whites were used for the vomit. And she also added that they are also used for love scenes in movies.
What? How?
Have they not seen that? When you were watching the sperm eye view of that, did it look like egg whites?
It's funny because I was about to say like there never is a visual of spunk in a mainstream film, but I've literally proved myself wrong within this
Thelma
episode.
and Louise, not Thelma and Louise. What am I talking about? Something about Mary.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And I actually went looking for this fact as I was sure that it would be a thing, and lo and behold, it was. The studio was very resistant to the downbeat ending and were very keen to find an alternative. As they were unable to come up with a better conclusion, they eventually conceded. And I knew that would be a thing. I just thought there'd be some production guy somewhere going, "No, sorry, no scope for a sequel. You can't have the heroes die at the end. That's the audience is going to leave and they're going to be very depressed. If I was an audience member and I saw the two leads of the film die at the end, I'd be very depressed. And I don't want our audience to go home being upset over what they've just seen. It needs to be a happy... Think of another ending. We can't. Okay, fine, they die."
Who wrote this shit? Debbie Downer?
Yeah. So... but I'm thinking if they remade this film... So actually, kind of what happens, and this is something that, the late...
The Rock and Mark Wahlberg.
No, that is the answer. But the late film critic Roger... Is it Ebert?
Yeah.
Ebert.
So
he praised the film, but he withheld a perfect score on the basis that the last shot before the credits is a freeze frame that fades to white. So the car goes off the cliff. For people who haven't seen the film, the car goes off a cliff with Thelma and Louise in it. They decide to die rather than go to jail, which is fine. But it does so very quickly in a very kind of weird way. And he says it's unsettling to get so involved with a movie that takes like 130 minutes to bring you the payoff that the filmmakers seem to fear, which I think is a good comment. But I also reckon that in a remake with The Rock and who would you say?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. This ending would be fully exploited. There'd be a massive explosion, maybe even like skin burning off and everything.
Actually, maybe Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. The Rock and Kevin Hart, yeah, maybe.
Are
Yeah.
they not pals?
Yeah. Yeah, pals in real life, yeah.
Yeah, they were in that CIA Central Intelligence thing.
Yeah.
And Jumanji.
Yeah. And maybe something else as well. So there you
Something
go.
else as well. That's great. Who's your favourite movie friendship?
I think it probably has to be Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber.
Olly's frozen.
Okay.
He's back. Who's your favourite movie friendship, Ollie?
I would have to say Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. I think, I don't know if this really counts, but John Connor and the Terminator and Terminator 2 is pretty good.
No, that is good. John Connor in the Terminator 2. And in fact, I've got a list of worst. And I put John Connor's mate in Terminator 2 is probably a bad friend.
Yeah, the
He's
guy
not a
is
good.
like...
He leaves him in the lurch almost instantly. I don't think Ferris Bueller is a good friend. The Mean Girls in Mean Girls are not good friends. I mean, that's the title says it all, really. Stifler,
Yeah.
he's not a good friend. Cartman from South Park, the film, he's not a good friend. And pretty much the cast of This Is England are terrible friends to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
About the kid, the ginger kid in Terminator 2, he does do that one thing where he tries to send the T-1000 in the wrong direction when he's asking questions in the arcade. He's like, I think you went that way. John, quick, go.
Yeah, maybe he's a good friend, but
he
you never
does
see
get
him
into
again after
trouble.
that. Yeah, did get him into trouble.
I think he says, I think one of his lines is, hey, your step-parents are kind of dicks.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right, Ian, I think we've got time for one more little segment each, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up.
I'm going to tell you, I've got no more segments.
Oh. Who's your favourite friendship in a film?
I just told you, I think John Connor and the Terminator in Terminator 2.
Sorry, my microphone wasn't working, so I didn't hear.
What's your next segment?
I was just going to give you some honourable mentions, and I will just see if these kind of pass your friendship test or not. So, Die Hard, John Mcclane and Al,
Pretty good,
police guy, good friendship. What about
it's
John
cool that
Mcclane
they-
and Zeus?
It's cool that him and Al develop the friendship over the phone only, and then they only see each other at the very end.
And they also pushed that into Die Hard 2 as well, where he has
they
to
do.
phone him for that one bit of intel.
While he's eating a Twinkie at a desk.
Yeah. What about John Mcclane and Zeus, played by Samuel L. Jackson?
So, I'm less familiar with A Vengeance. I can't remember it as well, so I don't know how well that goes. But is it not a little bit more adversarial, or...?
By the end of it, they're all laughing with each other and their mates. It's a very, very good film, but the ending, Ian, is shockingly bad.
Is it because it's got, like, bad fire effects?
It's because originally... Well, the original ending for Die Hard with a Vengeance is effing awesome. It's fantastic. But some producer somewhere went, oh no, this ending is far too dark and the audience will go home feeling very depressed and very upset. So we need to have one final action sequence. And basically they end up with some very confusing helicopter thing. But the original ending for Die Hard with a Vengeance, for people that are listening, go and watch it on YouTube because it's excellent. And if I managed to make a lot of money, we're talking millions and millions, and money just wasn't an object, I would reinstate that sequence into the film and get all other copies taken off all streaming platforms and have it replaced with my version as the canon version. It's that good, and if it had that ending, I think it would be pretty much a perfect action film.
Would you put the money ahead to try and reclaim every DVD and VHS that included the old ending?
I'd put a portion of it into that, but I wouldn't count on it. Napoleon Dynamite and Pedro.
Yep. That's a friendship.
The Aliens Marines. Some of them.
Yeah.
You have to take them on their individual merits.
Yeah, they're all right.
The Pick of Destiny, the Tenacious D lads.
Never seen it.
Okay. The Frog Brothers in Lost Boys. Good friends?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
The Lost Boys.
Yeah, like that ensemble cast sort of
Who
thing.
would you prefer to hang out with, the Frog Brothers or the Lost Boys?
The Warriors.
Bridesmaids from Bridesmaids.
Yeah, the good friends, although it's a weird relationship between the main actress and the woman getting married. Like,
Yeah.
are they really good friends, or were they good friends a long time ago and they're kind of trying to keep it together?
It's complicated. And the two cops from 21 Jump Street.
Oh, yeah, they are definitely good colleagues.
Yeah. I think they lean in the second one, in 22 Jump Street. I think they lean quite heavily in that they're in an actual bromance relationship.
Right.
They seem to. So I'd say they're good friends. We watched that the other week and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very funny film. Finally, Ian, we've got the name game. And one thing I've realised is that I haven't been letting the listeners know what the point of the game is and what the rules are. Yeah. So I'm just going to run through the rules now. So I've got a name game. So I've got a list of Christian names, first names that I'm gonna give to Ian, and he's gonna finger out in the air, pluck the surname that he thinks that comes after. So for example, I'll say Brendan.
Fraser?
Yeah, exactly. That's an example of one he gets correct. And if I was to say Kevin.
Spacey?
No,
cancelled.
No, Bacon. So he's got that one wrong. Okay? So I'm just trying to make sure that people understand. It's because the thing is, once this gets going, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's very quick fire, so I don't want you to be confused, like what's going on. So he gets the first name.
The confusion on my part last time came from you thinking it was possible to pick up the theme of the names at the same time as answering moment to moment to moment. But hey, maybe I'll slow the pace down this time.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how you get on. So, are you ready and willing?
Sure.
Jennifer
Aniston.
Scott Lee. Courtney.
Love.
Correct. Matthew.
McConaughey.
Correct. Lisa.
Tarbuck.
Goodrow. Matt.
Oh, what? LeBlanc.
Damon. David.
Badil.
Duchovny.
Oh, fuck.
Tom.
Hanks.
Selleck. Bruce.
Shit.
Bruce.
Willis.
Correct. Paul.
Okay. The guy. What's his name? Paul. I'm thinking of an actor.
I can't think of people anymore. Paul.
Bettany.
Rudd. Michael.
Man.
Rappaport.
Come on.
No, the last four were all in Friends.
Right.
All the last four were all in Friends. Ian,
Michael
it was an open
Rappaport.
goal for you. It was an open goal for you. But you
Well,
tripped over your laces. But you did get 3. You got 3 out of 10. So I think that's fairly decent.
It's all right, but it's it's really good considering you intentionally red herringed every second question to like.
Well, actually, you know what?
The first ones are definitely not Friends, but this one is, and this one is.
Well, I tell you what, I'll give you a full 10 points if you can think of another Lisa actor in 5 seconds without looking at the internet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There isn't one. She's the only one.
Lisa.
Lisa Simpson doesn't count.
Fuck's sake. Really? Is that true? There are no other Lisas in
there
film?
there are, but look, I have to think of. I'm not going to be unfair, right? These are all going to be people you've heard of.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, listeners, if you can think of another famous Lisa named actor that Ian would know of, then please let
That's
us
the
know.
name of the game, isn't it? It's like whether or not it's in somebody else's head. And on a quick IMDb search, I don't know any of the other Lisas. So
Exactly, and
correct.
that's why you had Kudrow. So, Ian, do you want to lead us out
I'll lead you out.
the back?
Yeah, if you'd like to hear more of this stuff, then there are 111 other episodes. So you can go to guysonfilm.co.uk. Got it totally wrong. If you'd like to listen to more episodes of this stuff, we've got 111 other episodes. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast from. That's why you're listening to this. But you can also check out the details for the episodes and other stuff on our website, guysonfilm.co.uk, and facebook.com/guysonfilm. We're on Instagram and Twitter @GOF Podcast.
And if there's a topic that you think we should cover, then let us know. If you think there's ground that we should cover, then we're all ears. We're all ear.
Nice microphone blast at the end there. Whack.
Yeah.
All right. Are we still friends?
I'd say so.
I'm on the fence.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. How do I stop this thing?